welcome back to part 4 of Super Mario Bros. Free, and now we're on the big world, which is, here's the thing with this world, you start to really notice the amount of detail that developers probably wanted to put into their sprites, but couldn't because they were tiny sprites. Because look at how much more detailed everything here is. It doesn't look like they just took the original image and blew it up. No, this is like, oh, you might have, okay, there you go. I thought it despawned. These are definitely more detailed sprites than what they normally look like because they're able to make them so much bigger. Although, funnily enough, this world looks really unfinished and weird and unpolished, Like, for as well made as this game is, this particular area of the game is, I think it's just a mismatch of sprite sizes, you know what I mean? Everything just looks kind of wrong and strange. Can you jump on the... Yes, you can. You can jump on the clouds. It feels like I'm playing like a ROM hack of this game, trying to resemble the original Super Mario Bros. I can't describe it exactly, but I'm also, for some reason, the piranha plants are small. I'm gonna assume they can't have moving sectors that are that large, and wow, that was the whole stage. Oh my god, I just realized, look at that pattern. Uh-oh, is Nintendo gonna sue me? You know what's funny? I genuinely was not thinking about Mario Free when I made that pattern for my series. I wasn't thinking about that. I was just like, oh, that's a cool pattern I can make, because Photoshop lets you make those, when you take an image and then you can apply it, and yeah, you can define like a pattern. I was not thinking about this game when I did that. It just happened to look cool, so I did it. You can't use your Tanuki tail to break, to activate blocks and stuff. Why did I say break? To activate them. Come on. Stop sucking, start blowing instead. Oh, wait, no, hold on. That's not good. Oh, for fuck's sake. No, I'm gonna break those blocks, damn it. If it's the last thing I do. I never understood that phrase. If it's the last thing I do. Fuck it, well, we're gonna invincibility anyway, which... Oh, you dick. I lost the invincibility, and now I'm Tiny Mario with no means of fuck. Alright, let's go again. Jump. Don't bother with that switch, because... Unless it's mandatory. No, there's no way it's gonna be mandatory. Oh, for fuck's sake. I've always hated those leaping cheap. That's why they called them that, because they're cheap. They're a cheap way to create difficulty. That's annoying. And yeah, it just hit me why we as gamers call certain things in games cheap, because it's referring to an inexpensive, in terms of the amount of effort and time it takes to make, method of creating game difficulty. That's why we call it cheap. God, sometimes I'm a little slow, but yeah, here's what I was talking about in like part 1, I think, or what was it, part 2? Look at how many fucking items I can have. Look at that. That's amazing. Alright, let's go over here and continue with the stages. Because this, oh my god, it's the Chunky. Freaking Chungo, fucking Hammer, I was gonna call them Pipe Brothers. No. Chunky Hammer Brothers, but the Buzzy Beetles look the same. That's interesting. I guess the Tiny World doesn't really care that it's... Maybe the underground is the exact split, like halfway point between normal and big world. So the underground area happens to be completely normal, whereas the overground is all, plus size and all that. So that's quite funny. I'm surprised some people haven't called that... You were expecting me to call it America Zone, right? Actually, I think India was first in that regard. I remember when I was in, I think it was in high school, we were studying about those kind of statistics, and it turned out that America wasn't number 1. It was, I think, number 3 or 4. I'm not sure, but not number 1 though. So that's pretty interesting. Especially our American teacher was quite defensive about that, but I guess it must be annoying, to be fair, the stereotypes. It's funny how I actually, why I wanted to become a musician? Because of my English teachers, because they were both guitarists. In fact, one of them was in a metal band. So it was like, a mission failed successfully. I mean, I still learn English there, but to be fair, dick. Actually, it's fine. The level's short as hell. There you go, we're done again. Let's go ahead and do that again, but let me continue telling my story. But yeah, so, I mean, obviously, I attended to my studies and stuff, and I did well, but the point is that at that time, like, my real passion for some reason just became music. And it wasn't even the kind of music I make now, but it became that kind of music when I eventually decided to pick up a guitar as well, and holy shit, there was no looking back, Donk. There was no slam effect. That's disappointing. Maybe they just can't play it. Oh, that's adorable. Look at the little shit. This is so fucking spastic. That's adorable, though. Look at the little flames. They hop out and walk around. Look at that, it's amazing. Oh, and they behave like the boos, I think. Oh my god, that is so cute. I've never seen that in this game before. Again, this game may be 40 years old, but I'm still finding things that I've never seen before. Like, look at that. And it's because I've never played it up until now. That's the thing. That's what happens when you actually sit down and play a video game. You see so much more than the brief seconds of footage that are shown to you in videos, right? You actually see the whole thing. And you have freaking walking little bits of fire. That's so cute. Oh, fuck you. I mean, they're still dicks, but still. Hold on, let's let him go all the way over here so I can then... They behave just like boos. They must be possessed by the boos. That's funny. Have we ever really stopped to consider what the boos actually imply? That mortality exists in the Mario universe and that one day everyone will die. Oh, fuck. I mean, Mario's not going to die because he's immortal, because he's a video game character, and he's real in all of our hearts or some shit like that. I don't fucking know. You know, video games are so weird. It's like you think, it's like, what would the most iconic... Why did I do that? It's an instinct that kicks in. It's a really bad habit, because I don't need to do that. I can just easily take him out and... Okay, maybe I needed to do that. Why am I so bad at this? I think it's because I have this really... there's maybe a gap in my understanding of the way that character physics and momentum works, because this is a very momentum-driven game. This might as well be Sonic the Hedgehog, right? Early Sonic, in the sense that, you know, like classic Sonic, where there's like all these physics going on. Because as we all know, classic Sonic's movement in the original games is equal to that of the physics that NASA used to calculate when they went to the moon. Actually, wait, hold on. No, didn't NASA use like 4 kilobytes of memory or something to do that? Which, to be fair, at the time was kind of insane. You know, considering this is running on pretty much the same amount. Anyway, I actually have no idea how much memory the NES has exactly. Oh my god, Chunky Boy! And he's dead. Well then, that's one way to take care of the problem. Look at those smiling faces. I really hope the game is integer scaled correctly, because it's 6 times... I mean, it should be, because 240 is... That can fit 6 times on my monitor, so I think it should be fine, right? Because it's a number that can be divided by 2 quite easily. Oh no, I missed a pickup. I'm sure... Yeah, these sprites look so strange, because they're bigger, but these in particular, not the enemies, but the blocks are not that much more detailed, actually. Maybe that's why they look kind of ugly. That's what happens, right? The enemies generally look a little bit better, because duh. And I like how there's that one, there's those 4 pixels of miscoloration because of the way the game handles sprites. That's really cute. Man, I can't imagine like making a game with these kind of limitations and yet still making it really fucking good, you know? But that's probably why so few games were... Well, no, there's actually plenty of games that were quite good. I mean, the NES library... It may have become a little saturated later on in its lifespan due to success, but that's kind of a... It's more of a sign of a successful system, to be fair, you know? It just kind of happens when, like, okay, a billion people bought this system, let's make as many games as we can for it, you know? Like, all these different developers just trying to get a slice of that, because, you know, they know that there's quite a bit left. Even if there's only 2 slices left, those 2 slices are still massive, you know? So it's very easy for them to just do that. LJN. Are LJNs still around? They're probably not. Or maybe they've been consumed by someone else. Who knows? I want to do every level, though, honestly. Except it does mean I have to face a couple more of these assholes, but it's fine, because we got some more power-ups. And maybe I should do this crazy thing called actually utilizing the systems the game introduces to my benefit. Let's do that and become a furry Mario. Let's go. Jump and bonk. Yeah, see the sprites, on the enemies, they look a tad better, but the blocks look really strange, don't they? Huh. You know, what's really interesting is to, like, I noticed something. Despite the fact that not much different is going on in terms of gameplay, I typically have a much easier time commentating consistently over a platformer. And I just don't know why. I'm trying to think, because it's not like I'm doing things that are, for fuck's sake, that are also different when it comes to how the game works. No. Like, it's not like this game has the most varied environments. Well, it has relatively varied environments, but there's nothing here that's all that special that would inspire some incredible commentary. And yet, here I am, like, just talking, and I'm not having an issue. That's strange. Anyway, how did the bullet bill... Whoa, I just noticed. Look at the... What the fuck? Is that a homing bullet bill? That's weird. But I just noticed, look at the, that awesome gradient effect going on the bullet bill, cannons. That's really cool. Again, tons of subtle little details. But yeah, look, I think what they've done is they've just scaled the block sprites, the tiles, just 4 times or something. Not the enemies. The enemies are their... Oh, these guys are big. There you go. The enemies are their own more detailed sprites. But for some reason, they look kind of ugly in comparison. I think it's because of the mismatch in level of detail between that of Mario and the rest of the enemies. You've always got to have that consistency, because sometimes something that looks subjectively better, when combined with something else that doesn't look quite as good, it creates an overall less good looking image compared to a game where everything is consistent in its presentation, you know? It might be why I've always considered Terraria, at least when it comes to when you're facing the bosses and such. See, that's what the Goombas are supposed to look like. I've always considered Terraria to be, I'm probably going to get shit for this, a slightly ugly game because of just how much better all of the bosses look in terms of like sprite resolution and stuff like that, like the animation quality. They look way more hi-fi compared to your character and other characters, and yet that exact mismatch makes the game a little bit, oh, we can go back to normal. So it's like Tiny Huge Island, that's cool. Except it doesn't suck because that level's awful. But yeah, there's like just this mismatch which makes the game otherwise look kind of ugly. Even though when the mismatch isn't in view, when you're not facing a boss or something of the sort in Terraria, the game looks amazing. Honestly, I really do love the pixel art. In fact, I think it looks better than Minecraft in a lot of ways. Because Minecraft's art style really isn't super inspired. It's just kind of the voxel thing going on. And the texture work is okay. A lot of reused textures from other games, and they've obviously revamped the texture several times, but you know me. I grew up with 1.2.5, so those textures are going to be the ones to stay with me forever. Although, you know, I've never really been too considerate of the fact that Mario has black overalls, because I just always kind of filled in the blanks that they were blue anyway. I just accepted it like, oh, hey, it's the limitations of the system. And that's why Mega Man has a lot of blues in his palette, so that he can be more detailed. Did You Know Gaming, fact number 50 that everyone already knows. Thanks to Did You Know Gaming. And oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's so clever. They're utilizing the fact that the doors are pitch black in there to actually make the level design a little more interesting, to hide it from you. That's really neat, actually. And also, why do these become transparent? Again, I'm assuming it's some kind of limitation. You know, most of what's happening here is because of what the NES couldn't do, and yet it's still really good because it's just the level design is solid enough that you don't really pay attention to that stuff and you just want to have a good time. Oh, motherfucker. Alright, let's do this again. Jump. It's like that shitty, that shitty pipe level from... Where am I gonna... What's gonna happen? There you go. From New Super Mario Bros. DS, except it's... Oh, wait, I just realized. I think I might have... Oh, no. Yay, I've made progress. Let's go. Let's jump over here. Yeah, from New Super Mario Bros. DS. And the same way, I think these change direction. I swear to God, I've seen that in some other game. I mean, maybe that game bit it off of this one. Oh, come on, now I have to go all the way. That's why they become transparent, because instead of it just being one consistent platform that just kind of stays in that one spot, it can become more of the silhouette of the platform that can then travel independently like this. And it can traverse through terrain, of course, so we don't get stuck on anything. And there you go. Now we should be done with the level. I've always loved the shading on the pipes as well. Oh my God, okay. I thought that was going to drop me into a bottomless pit like a dick face, but apparently not. That's good. Whoa, chunky block. And we got a small one-up. Oh, 2 one-ups. 3 one-ups. You know, that's a reference to Count Dracula, you see, because in this NES game, he had digitized speech, which is quite impressive for the time, because back then it was very difficult to get actual sound effects going. Even though this game, as you can hear, actually has, gotta remember to turn it up in the mix, has a lot of samples being used in the audio to make it a little bit more, you know, a little more textured and real sounding before they could actually do that. And I am still, to this day, I'm still very impressed by the sound quality of the Super Nintendo. Like, there's some shit on there that, and I'm not even talking about the stuff that Tim Fallon does, because of course. No, I mean like even just your standard fare Super Nintendo game that is absolutely just insane in terms of audio. Oh, it's terrible. He's now a dinosaur. Ah, shit. Time for us to go ahead and save him by collecting the magic crystal that does a thing. Let's go up into the space shuttle of doom. Or, no, it's actually called a battleship. I'm pretty sure it would not be able to fly if it had that shape, though. I'm not a technician. I'm not an audio engineer. I actually am an audio engineer, but, no, I'm not an avio, what would you call it? Like, okay, basically, I don't understand how planes and aircrafts work. But, still, oh, for fuck's sake, how did that happen? Also, why is everything slightly differently pitched now? I just noticed that. Sometimes the game becomes weirdly pitched. I get why that happens in Atari 2600 games, because, believe it or not, there's no actual piano roll happening there. There's no scale. Essentially, you have a set pitch, and then you can divide and multiply it and stuff and change it. But essentially, you're not given a list of tools like you would have on a musical instrument, like a series of notes that are, 12 temperament and stuff like that. No, a 12 tone equal temperament. You just kind of have sounds. And that's why so many games from that time on the Atari 2600 and possibly 5200 would sound all janky and out of key, because that's just... The composers couldn't do shit about that, really. They could just try their best to make it close enough to the original. At this point, now we have, like, actual notes, for real, like, actually sound like it. Even though there's actually a lot of Sega Genesis games, actually, that are ever so slightly out of key. Even the original, or at least not, what would you call it? Not perfectly in tune with, A440 and stuff like that. Like, for example, Sonic 1, actually... I can pretty much never learn Sonic 1 songs as they are. I either have to pitch shift them a little bit myself, or find, like, the appropriate remix or something, or rearrangement, or whatever it might be, but not the original, because they're ever so slightly out. And a lot of the songs from Sonic CD, the past themes, the PCM past ones, yeah, those themes are also slightly out, so I can never really learn them that way without, like, going into Vegas or something. And oh my god, you suck at this. You suck so bad. Without going into Vegas and actually pitch shifting them slightly. I used to think he had a really weirdly shaped skull. I think those are just supposed to be glasses, but he looks like his skull is deformed. It's because they're the same color as the rest of his body. Now, granted, that's probably because, they only have so many colors they can work with on their sprites. So, there you go, we're done. And one of these days, I'm going to catch it as it's landing the first time. But that doesn't really matter now, does it? Because now we're going to play a little bit of music again. Okay, cool. We can skip this part. I wonder what he's going to look like now. I wonder if he's going to look like a reused sprite from a different part of the game that is just, changed up a little bit. Oh my god, no, that is a completely unique sprite that they dedicated just for this character. That is very interesting. I wonder what Peach is going to give us now. No, really, though. What the hell are we going to get from Peach? If it's even going to be useful at all. Also, just realized Toad is dummy thick. Look at him. God damn. The thief who stole the whistle has escaped to the east side of the sand dunes. I've enclosed the jewel that helps protect you. What is that jewel she's talking about? I have no idea. Maybe we're collecting the Chaos Emeralds. Music's really nice here, but we're going to be tackling this area in Part 5 of Super Mario Bros. 3 to Sky World. What do we even have in our inventory? We have a lot of stuff in our inventory, and I'm actually just going to give myself one of them because it's nicer. Though I always thought that Mario looks a little more natural when he's small on the map. He looks kind of weird. Look at him, and I know it's because the way the game's split up into tiles. I know. Graphical limitations of the system. But anyway, we're going to keep going with Part 5 of Super Mario Bros. 3. I'll see you then.